doesn't take long living in a Christian community before you realize that when we talk about spiritual growth, we realize that people are all over the place with it. That you have Christians who are really young, Christians who are just coming to church because maybe they don't even know why. Maybe they're coming to church because they have a girlfriend or something that they came with, or maybe they're coming to church because they really like the music. And then you've got Christians who have been on fire for a number of years and they're really getting things figured out. Their lives are really turning around. And then you have Christians maybe who've been Christians for decades and they've got it figured out and they're really investing themselves in the people around them. What we see in the Christian community that we call church is that we're all in a different place. And so the question becomes, since we're all in a different place, since we all grow at different rates, what does spiritual growth look like for us? Does it look the same for all of us? I think on some level it's fair to say that spiritual growth doesn't look the same for all of us. With our unique personalities, with our unique giftedness, that spiritual growth is going to take a different path for everyone. However, I think we can say that there are a few things that we can all do, some practices that we can all participate in, that if we get these things down, we at least put ourselves in a position to grow. And the thing is these practices, actually, we have all in common. The first practice that I'd like to talk about is simply the practice of consistent attendance at church. We're also calling this Connect this week, but it's only a small part of Connect. Consistent attendance at church, ensuring that you faithfully show up every week to gather yourself together with the community of God. There are few things in life that will produce spiritual growth as much or in a greater way than just simply consistently showing up at church to hear the Word of God and to worship. The second thing that I think we can do to put ourselves in a position to grow is to make sure that we practice certain spiritual practices. Things like reading our Bible, things like praying, things like fasting. These kinds of things are spiritual practices where we don't really force ourselves to grow, but what we do is we put ourselves in a position to tell God, God, I'm right here, I'm waiting for you, you show up and you grow me. The third thing that I think could really be beneficial for us is simply the spiritual practice of serving other people. Now this is where it gets a little bit difficult because we've all got our schedules and we've all got things that we've got to work out. But here's the thing. Jesus, in washing disciples' feet, essentially says that when you serve other people, you show them the full extent of your love, but not only your love, the full extent of God's love for them. Serving other people puts us in a position where we can grow spiritually. The fourth practice I'd really like to address here is that of generosity. Now, when we start talking about money, when we start talking about tithing or things like that, a lot of times people don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear you talk about money. They don't want to hear the pastor talk about money. But the fact is, Jesus says that where your treasure is, there your heart is also. And let's be honest about ourselves. If most of us will be honest, we would see that our treasure is oftentimes in our money. It's in our wallets, our bank accounts. And so maybe one of the most important things for us to do is realize that giving that away, being generous to other people, generosity to church, generosity in various ways, could be one of the key components of spiritual growth for us. The fact is, we're all in different places spiritually. We all grow in different ways and at different rates. But there are a few core things that we can do to spiritually grow together.